Hello again, traders. Right, I just thought I'd make a quick video of this particular setup here and talk about a few things that go through my head before maybe re-entering this. Now, I took the initial trade over here or down here when that blue arrow came, 2B pattern and all that lot again. But I don't get too technical about the 2Bs anymore because I rely so heavily on this and my normal knowledge of ascending, descending trend lines and line charts and all that stuff as well, and breaks of sellers, like this area here and down here as well, and all the 2B, all the 3CRs and all that lot. But what I wanted to talk about in this particular, I'm 99.99% out of this trade now, but I let little runners run just so that I can keep my interest, as it were, to see what happens. Because I'm just about to go out down to the beach again, do my swim, and excuse me, I've still got tail end of that cold that I talked about in the previous video a couple of weeks back. Just horrible. Anyway, um, this is the bit I'm focusing on in this particular video, how to get back into it. And it was tempting to take a trade off that ascending trend line there, drawn way before price even got to this level. But this is the important part about this video for people that might not be so switched on to what I get up to, is you can clearly see there's no, when I say look left, you have to look left. If this doesn't look anything like that, then it means there's no entry, no re-entry. This was all wrong as well, but we did get a phase where three M30, M15, M5 were all saying, look at this, maybe worth a go. And this was like screaming, don't even think about it, mate. And the same goes for here. There is a slight flicker of interest going on here because we've got a bust, pull back, break and close of the high of the bust. But there's no power there again. We want to see this sort of stuff. And then these I just use for observational purposes, really. I'm still learning about them. And they're self-built multi-time frame indicators based on TMA and RSI histo. Excuse me. There is a double Bollinger Band one hiding behind there, I think, as well. Recent candle, no apologies. That's a different one I was observing. Anyway, I digress. So, as we can see, this is doing exactly what it should do according to what I use on my charts. If it was ready to take off again, because it got, shorts are just not an interest at all at the moment for me, based on all my stuff on my charts. So you got the daily open line here, which ironically, when this deep pullback came here, where did it come to test? The daily open line. Unbelievable. And there was no power in these moves. But what I pointed out on my Twitter feed, same name as this video feed, is that now I've lost my thread again. Is that sells were not an option, and I wouldn't even sell to test this here. And I just want the power off. And if we look at M15, I did take a trade earlier on here today as well, because I love trading the Asian session. This is about the time I get up, is about 5 o'clock over here. And I'm on about double arrows and things like that. You often get a double arrow situation on the RSI histo alerts, and that also makes me stay out of bad trades. So really, people say you can't trade indicators and you can't, they're rubbish and all that lot. They are priceless to me for, like belt braces and a bit of old rope round your trousers. You know, it is like continually double checking, triple checking everything, and if everything ain't right, I'm not interested. So back to and then M30 I used on the Twitter feed as well. Double blue arrows. That's what that ascending trend line was on those, and then you can clearly see divergence as well. Um, it's there are tails on these, so they do count, but the divergence there is serious. Even between those two lows there, the two levels there, divergence is clearly there and there. So that's it. I've gone off topic a lot, but the whole point is everything I do is to wait for perfect setups, and they do rise. And quite frankly, you can use what everyone will think, "Crikey, what a mess this chart is." But I can. That's why I put the final take profit, or where I think price will go to, is R1. But don't quote me on that. And certainly don't trade anything you listen to in this video, apart from how to build your own uh, template, if you like, that suits you and only you, and own it. Own your trading method. So let's go back to M1 again, because there was M5 rather, sorry, not M1. Now we're getting a bit laggy because it's too much on the charts. M5. We're forming a 2B here as well. It's if you look at the line chart, the sellers have beaten the buyers that sent the price up there. So we've got to see what it might power, all this lot might turn around, start looking a bit like that, and then we'd have to use that line there, the final sellers that created this, and if it comes down a bit further, we just draw another blue level that's got a break, because that's the thing about reversals, and I've made videos about this years and years ago on YouTube on this channel. You just watch these levels as it pulls down, as it pulls down, as it pulls down, and there's a final level there which is the same as that 3CR up there. And everything on my charts I use day in, day out, and it's just scalper paradise. So and if that does break that, this is another thing, watch for the pullback and then get in. Don't get in the break of it. I used to, and it sometimes works, but you don't have to. Wait for, and you could call that a candle high. Just wait for the, well, no, what you want to do is wait for the break and close of that blue box there, then drop down to M1 and watch the pattern, the pullback, or you could even trade the high of the candle, break of the high or the close above the high of that M5 candle that broke up here, hypothetically speaking, and then the pullback most likely will have happened, so, or they've exhausted. It's all about just exhaust. These are exhaustion patterns, and it's all about exhausting the sellers, and the buyers overwhelming the sellers. That's it, or the algos, if you want to call it that. So anyway, and I'll always have one eye on this. If this doesn't look right, even if all that lot is right, I'm not involved. I'm not getting involved, and vice versa. If that looks right and this lot doesn't, then I'm not getting involved. It's that simple. And then this is clearly horrible, which is another great reason not to get involved. Look, horrible, 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 nice. Horrible, horrible, horrible. We want a bit of nice to come in, and that's it, plain and simple. So when someone tells you indicators don't work, tell them to go stick their head up their arse. Sorry for that little nasty landing, but I've heard it so much, it's just unnecessary. Obviously, traders, really, really good traders that use trade levels and various times a day and use all that lot, they don't have to use indicators, but I'm not a very good trader, so I just use the indicators. It's as simple as that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good day. And I hope something on here has helped. time for me to hit the beach.